If this doesn't constitute bigotry, I don't know what does. You know, they're giving privileges to transgender males over what they give to females. That's crazy.
California has passed legislation allowing transgender inmates in the state's correctional facilities to be assigned housing based on their gender identity.
Joining the sheriff's department, joining the military police, I'm an idealist. I joined because I thought we were going to help people. Inmates are people. Women are people. They are subject to the same fears and threats that anyone else is. Sure, they need to be incarcerated for whatever crime for the term that they're sentenced to, but they need to do that in safety and security. When we compromise that, we might as well be a third world country. Over the years, get kind of cynical, but I never, in my worst cynical mood, ever thought what was happening now would happen. In my experience, when I worked at county jail, I'm talking 1970 to 1974, we had a section for queens, we call them, who guys who dressed like women, and we had a section to protect them, and they were housed at the Hall of Justice jail in a separate wing. And then we also had some people housed in our hospital, which we were waiting for a court order to tell us whether they were male or female, because they had participated in some kind of a medical procedure, and we call them UFOs. We don't know what they are yet. And that would determine where they were going to be housed. But we kept them separate. And that was for the safety of them and any other people within the system. Well, I'm not completely, as of yet, out of the system. I'm a technical advisor, expert in the federal court system. And I'm also working for the Attorney General of Arizona. And then I have lots of peers who remain in the custody division or the staff of various prisons. So I know from, not my own experience, but from being told that things are very different now. That in an attempt to integrate the yards, which is what they call it, California and other prison systems have began putting people that formerly were held apart for their own safety or for the safety of others, have dumped them into the yards. And this has created an unprecedented rise in violence. It's happening everywhere. The federal system, I have friends in the BOP, the Bureau of Prisons federal system, and it's happening in Arizona. The important part of that is the public doesn't know that this is happening. Even my friends, when I question them about how do you house a transgender person in the system, they don't want to talk about that. That's like talking about alcoholism in the family, right? They just avoid that. In fact, I actually tried to recruit some of them to come speak on this documentary about what they knew, and no one would do it. I feel sorry for those people who are staff within the prison system. They see and know what is wrong. They see the injustice. They're afraid because of their occupation to lose their job, and so they're not speaking out. I lived in a different era, but then the streets were safer. People actually felt like the police were doing something for them. We were respected even in East Los Angeles or Compton. California has let that go. You know, I'm not sure that the Attorney General or the prosecutors in the DA's office are on our side. They're not, it seems to me. And even our department is reluctant to get involved in a lot of crimes because they're afraid of the publicity, the media attention they would get if the person they happen to arrest is a minority or of some kind, racial or transgender or gay, and the negative publicity that would bring causes them to be more restrictive on their taking action. So people say, well, they have the right to privacy, and well, no, they don't. When you're convicted of a felony and you're put in the prison system, the safety and security of the system, the institution, takes priority over the rights of any individual within there. That's why we can wiretap their phone calls. That's why we have video cameras that can watch them. That's why we can subject them to searches. They can't vote, they can't possess guns. There's all kinds of things that they can't do because they've lost those privileges once they were convicted of a felony. So, if I self-identify, as something that I'm not, the system doesn't have to accept that if it compromises the safety and security of the people who have to live within that system. So placing the wolf in the pen with the lambs is not the spirit of that law. And I believe that CDC is liable, that a good lawyer could show that that was dangerous for the inmates involved. You can see that this is injustice with a capital I.